So, this is the center of Christ. He resides in the center of Agya, and he is, in the Devi Purana if you read, was born long time before, was created much earlier, and how he developed into Mahavishnu. Also you can read it for yourself because it's a big chapter, and I wish you all could go and read about it and find out how he developed into Mahavishnu. It is very interesting. Because all these things were written in Sanskrit language, we should not say that Mahavishnu was not in the Bible. It was not written at a stretch by one person. So that part is a part of Christ's creation before he came on this earth as Christ.
Actually, Christians do not know anything about his becoming, how he became Christ, or what was the need to have Christ or a son to come down. Why not God himself could do the job? And this is the reason why I would request you to read for yourself the incarnation of Mahavishnu, by which you realize why Christ was born. And it is the most important incarnation because he is the principle. He is the principle of creation. Tattva, as they call it in Sanskrit language, he is the Tattva. Ganesha, though resides in the Mooladhara, gradually evolves to be Christ at this stage. From that red chakra up to this chakra, he becomes Christ. He is the principle. Now, what is the principle? Within us, what is our principle? Is, say, the Kundalini, you can say. In this, the electricity is the principle of this furnace. In the same way, the creation, the whole creation, if you take it as such, it is the principle and the support of this creation. He represents the essence of creation. Like we can say, we have a family, husband and wife, and the child. Now the child is the essence of husband and wife. He is the essence of the family, of the house. The whole thing is sustained for him, is created for him. Till they did not have the child, there was no meaning to that house, no meaning to their life. But when they had a child, then they had a meaning. In the same way, Christ is the essence, is the Tattva itself. He is the Omkara, as they call it. He is the first sound that was created, Om. When the primordial father and primordial mother separated, they created this sound. And he is that sound which is filled into all-pervading power and looks after and supports. Actually, it is more the support, because looking after is done by the father, you can say, or by the mother, but is the support of all the universe. And because he is just the essence never dies. Say, my essence is my spirit. It will never die. The body dies, all the creation will die, but the essence has to be there. If the essence is lost, then nothing could be there. That's why he is the most important incarnation, because he is the support. Now this incarnation is placed in this Agya Chakra of ours. Here, in the center, where the optic nerve or optic thalamus cross each other like this, in the center is a very subtle point, which moves both the sides like this and like that. And it creates two sounds, hum, ksham, hum, ksham, hum, ksham. Hum is on the right hand side where you have seen the superego is there. And ksham is on the left hand side where the ego is. Now these two sounds create two kinds of vibrations. The hum sound creates the vibrations which make you think I am, I am. Hum, I am. This comes from our existence power that we know we have to live in this world. We are not going to die. Any human being who tries to kill himself is abnormal. Normally, every human being, why? Every animal or any living thing tries to retain its life. That is through this power of hum, that I am. Now the superego on the left hand side and the ego on the right hand side is ksham. But now I'll tell you about the right hand side, superego. In this superego, when you are conditioned by so many things, then you are frightened and you are worried, because these experiences make you that type of a person which has fear in the mind. And this fear is all settled in your superego. This starts from your amoeba stage, you can say, and it still today is being stored there. You are afraid of police, you are afraid of that, you are afraid of this. Some people are not afraid of these things but are afraid of something else, because whatever have been your conditions, whatever have been your experiences are all put down here. Moreover, say somebody reads the book of Dracula. Now he is afraid of the word Dracula. But the children who do not read, they do not know what is a Dracula is. If you say Dracula has come, they said, all right, let's have a look at him. But those children have read about Dracula, they are literally frightened and they say, oh God, Dracula is coming, something terrible is going to happen. So, you see, whatever you have read, whatever you have gone through, whatever experiences you have had, all is in the superego. So this superego, in that, this center sends message, I am, you are, hum, hum, don't be afraid, you are. So the people who come to me, you have seen some people who come to me are victims of superego conditioning. And these are the people, actually at this stage only you can really discriminate between the two types. One who are very aggressive, the other who are absolutely, we should say, subordinated, frightened. These people, when they come to me, I have seen they go on crying and weeping, mother, this has happened, that has happened, and I really get tired talking to them. And there are so many of this kind that really you have to pay attention to them as Sahajogis, because you will have to deal with them, how to manage them and how to work it out. Now at that time, if a Sahajogi says, now you go on saying hum, 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 hum. A Sahajogi, if he says, then the vibrations will drive out his fear. Even if you are under any fear and you are walking around and you feel that there's frightened, you just say hum, hum, hum. Now, with this saying, the vibrations will clear out this side very nicely. Apart from that, that is the way you can get help from the divine, by saying hum. Now there are many things about hum and ksham, but as the time is, so I do not want to go into great details about it, but I would say the mantra for the right hand side is hum, and for the left hand side is ksham. The right hand side is the ego, which is real problem, you understand that, is a real colossal one. You have to face them. I say anything small here and there, I find the whole thing coming up onto my head like that. So what is the solution for a colossal ego? Colossal ego can only be conquered by by forgiving others. Those who have ego must learn, if they feel hurt, they must say forgive. Then another person hurts them, say forgive. And not only forgive, but ask for forgiveness. Both things should be done, more asking for forgiveness. You have to ask for forgiveness if you have too much of ego. It is very important, because if you have too much of ego, means what? That you have pampered it too much. That means you have used it too much. You have dominated people, and that's why you have such a lot of ego. If you have such a lot of ego, you must all the time try to humble down in your heart. Now, in the heart resides the spirit. The ego, too much of ego in a person, always takes you away from that spirit. That's why it is said, humble down in your heart. The reason is, in the heart resides that part of yours which gets completely obliterated or forgotten once you start pumping up your ego. But ego has its limits. It ends up into stupidity and foolishness. You take any person who is egoistical and who is blowing his own trumpet, you will immediately know, because he'll be stupid. Without understanding what he's doing, he'll be doing such stupid things that you will start wondering, especially children, what's the matter with this fellow? Seems quite funny. And when the stupidity, you see, faces the person, then he sees for himself, oh God, how did I become so stupid? The stupidity comes to you because you forget the existence of God and your relationship with the whole. You think I am on my own. Why should I not do this? What is wrong in this? What is wrong in that? I should do these things. I mean, in this country, the way people are fighting for things, I mean, you must. Anybody, I mean, those so-called developing countries can't understand what's kind of a thing happening to these people, because the other day my son-in-law was reading an article that people are demanding now that a son-in-law should be allowed to marry the mother-in-law. And he just couldn't understand how can people gather together and ask for such an absurd thing like that. She is your mother. How can you say that way? I mean, it's something, an impossibility for people, normal people, to think like that a son-in-law can marry the mother-in-law. And what is there to make a law about it and to talk about it? It's a very difficult thing. All kinds of stupid things we are doing in this country, which really makes everybody roar with laughter, is because of our Mr. Ego companionship. It is not easy to understand how he befools us. It goes on befooling us all the time, and then we think, what's wrong? An 80-year-old man running after a 20-year-old girl, and the 20-year-old girl befooling this 80-year-old man, supposed to be a statesman, they start, and his statue is erected somewhere there. How is it possible? It is only the ego makes you do all these nonsensical and stupid things. Once you are in Sahaja Yoga, you don't know how to control your laughter sometimes, the way people are foolish, extremely foolish. And this is what it is. It ends up in stupidity, absolute stupidity. I mean, even if you have want to write a novel, you won't get such beautiful characters as you could around you when you listen to them and you're shocked, oh God, what's this going on? And very embarrassing too, extremely embarrassing. And they become so foolish with their ego that one cannot understand how thinking man, because by thinking you get your ego, becomes foolish. There is no wisdom in a person whose ego is completely developed like that. If somebody has an ego like that, there is no wisdom in him. You can see that he does not know what is wisdom. He behaves in such an immature way. He may be an elderly man, great-grandfather of somebody, but as soon as he opens his mouth, You are shocked at him. You think from where this joker has come. The maturity is completely lacking. The other day somebody told me that, Mother, how is it our parents are so stupid and we are searching God? And the elderly people are so foolish and we are searching God. And then I said, no, maybe because of war the parents are disturbed, you see. Most of the parents were disturbed during war. And they said majority of them are like this. And the younger people are searching God and much wiser. And we don't know how to compromise with them because they are not searching God. Why is it they are not searching God and we are searching God? And if there are some searching, there are very few. Now I said this may be due to war, but somebody said, then what about America? You see, in America the people didn't face war so much. The stupidity that they have is sometimes surprising. That is the same thing, as I said, is the development of ego in a human being.